What about the spinning wheel of death? Do you like the spinning wheel of death?
So when I go on the spinning wheel of death, I get in the non-spinning car.
All right, that's fine.
But it's one of my favorite photo spots. So it's
Wait,
phenomenal.
you're talking about the Ferris wheel
The
thing?
Ferris wheel.
but the one that moves.
Did y'all?
You can get in a stationary
Yes.
where you can get in a like elliptical loop.
Yes.
Moving. Half of my family goes with me on the stationary. The other half goes to their doom.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't be able to ride it because I don't do heights very well. But I just recently saw a TikTok where they didn't tell the grandma about the ride, and she was like freaking out. I'm like, that would be me. Like, I would kill my family if they did that to me. It would not be pretty, but I'll never ride that. There's no way.
Welcome back to another episode of Going Beyond the Castle. We're super excited to be here as always. I am your host, Fred Briley, and with me, as always, is my fabulous co-host, podcast princess, Lori Calamo. We have a special guest with us this week, but I'll let Lori dive into a little bit about her a little bit later on. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to give two shout-outs. One, first of all, to all of those that are joining us, watching with us each week, listening along. As always, we super appreciate you guys. It is a blessing to be able to do this every week and just get to talk about things that are super passionate to us. And it's even more of a blessing to have people that are right there beside us, just, enjoying the excitement with us. So definitely shout out to you guys. Second, shout out to Park Ears for the dudes that are out there who have always been envious of the females because they get ears. You should definitely check out Park Ears. Recently found out about them. Absolutely fabulous company. They have magnetic ears that will go on top of your hat so you can join in with your wife, girlfriend, your daughters, whoever it is, so you can join into the park fun. And of course, I got this cool hat off of it that says, I'd much rather be at Disney, which is always true. So yeah, definitely check them out if you guys are looking for some ears to wear for the men. But with that being said, I will turn it over to Lori. And Lori will introduce our guest. We'll dive into some announcements.
I'm going to get Josh and Breeden some of those ears for me. We'll see if they wear them. Yeah, not going to happen. So we've had some guests on before, but I am super excited because this is one of my favorite people, Stephanie. Stephanie and I met through our agency. We both are agents for Mouse Counselors. And so that brought us together and we've become really good friends. And so I'm super excited to have one of my TA besties, as I call, on the show. Stephanie is going to give us a little trip report on her recent trip to Disneyland. She's been many times, but we're super excited to talk about Disneyland, especially with someone who has been there, so can give a little more insight than Fred and I have done. So super excited to have Stephanie with us today. So we'll go into a little bit of announcements, and then we'll kind of kick off our episode. Not too many, because I want us to have a lot of time to spend with Stephanie, and it's she's an hour ahead of us, so it's a little late, so we'll get rolling here. Fred and I like to go off on a deep end sometime, mostly me. But, so we'll get started. So just recently, if you have a Disney Visa card, they released a new promotion for free dining. It is on select dates, but starting in June and through December, there are some blackout dates. So if you have a Disney Visa, if you already have a trip booked, make sure you look to see if you qualify for that. If not, then you can reach out to Fred or I, and we can help you get that taken care of. And then I don't know if you guys knew this, but when I was doing some quick research, they announced some new information on the Spaceship Earth Lounge, which Fred and I kind of talked about a little bit before. I'm not really a lounge person when I go to Disney, but I didn't realize this is an adults only lounge.
Yeah, no, so, I don't think it was supposed to be. I think they changed it to be an adults only lounge.
Because I was like, when I saw that, I'm like, I didn't see that. So it says adults ages 21 and up. So it'd be interesting to see how many. I guess Epcot, though, I could see it because it's more people.
I just leave my kids at the door and be like, bye.
Yeah, they need to have like a little play area at the front, like drop your kids off. There's 3 new dining experiences coming to Disneyland. They have Paint the Night dining package at Plaza Inn. So you can have lunch and then get a reservation for Paint the Night, the nighttime parade. There's Donald's Tale of Adventure Buffet at Storyteller Cafe. And then the Docking Bay 7 food and cargo nighttime gathering. So that's new things that are starting up. They kind of randomly. Some ones in April, the other two are starting in May, I think. So I just lost I lost you guys. Here we go. Okay. Sorry about that. And then the screen just went blank. And then the only other thing, I'm not going to like really talk about them too much, but they are putting out so much stuff about Epic right now that I'm like so excited. I cannot wait. Like all of the videos and all the stuff. So if you haven't been looking on social media, go check it out because there's so many new things being shown about Epic.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I guess that's the point to get everybody pumped up because it's opening soon.
We're at
59 days and counting. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited to do that in December.
I'm excited for it to open in May because I will be at Disney World when it opens. So I'm hoping everybody goes that way and I can just enjoy Disney World myself.
Get less crowds.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So let's jump in so we can get some good conversation with Stephanie. So just some kind of background information. I know you said you've been to Disneyland a good bit, but give us a little history of your Disneyland adventures and kind of how you started with that.
Yeah. So I joined the Navy in 2001, and my grandparents had moved to Southern California before I did that. And so my grandmother was like super nervous about me going to boot camp. And this was in March of 2001. So not really like a huge time to be nervous, just kind of being grandmotherly. And she's like, why don't you come out for a visit, hang out, we'll go to Disneyland. I had never been. And she took me, and of course we had this magical time, 3 nights, 2 days in the parks with my grandma right before I left for boot camp. And after that, I was stationed on the West Coast twice in Everett, Washington, and I would drive all the way down the 5 from Seattle down to Southern California to visit my grandparents often. And we would go and we would always stay at the Disneyland Hotel. That was like the big thing that my grandma loved to do. She passed away in 2021. And we ended up going once that year while I was like helping sort out all of her things. She passed away 3 months after my grandfather did. So both of them within 3 months. So we were sorting out their house and everything. And we went once then. And then since then, we've been back 5 times. I absolutely love Disneyland. So it's hard being an East Coaster and loving Disneyland as much. I did take my entire family, all 3 of my 4 daughters, my husband, and my best friend went out last July. So it was the first time my husband had been and the first time my 2 youngest girls had been. So that was really fun too. But this trip was great. We were there for the first day of the Food and Wine Festival at California Adventure, so that made it extra special. There's not necessarily, I don't think there's a bad time to visit Southern California. When I went 2 years ago, it was the end of March and it was a little drizzly and dreary, but even then the weather was so much better than it was back home.
Sweet. I forgot that you were military too. I mean, not just to connect, because Fred is also military, so yeah. Lots of military, and it's all different branches because you're Army, right, Fred? Yeah, that's what I was too. So anyway,
so this retired Army, so
I gotcha.
So I'll claim a little
One
bit.
big happy family.
Not during the Army.
Yeah. We can't all be perfect to join the Army.
This is okay. Here's where we sidebar. One of my family members, because I didn't do the Marines, and so like one of my uncles, like we would fight over the holidays because I didn't do the Marines like him and my grandfather did. So I'm like, look, you're lucky I joined anything because I wouldn't have made it through Marine boot camp. And anyway, so your recent trip, you just went recently. How long was your stay there and who did you go with?
So we went February 26th through March 1st. So 3 nights, 4 days. And I took one of my best friends from here, who's a huge Disney fanatic, named Kim. And she went with me 2 years ago also. So it was really cool. She had gone with her daughters in between. So she's kind of like my go-to traveling buddy for Disneyland because she loves it just as much as I do. We actually did the Main Street tour when we went 2 years ago. So like we went into Walt's apartment. She's the kind of friend that like didn't make fun of me or ever bring it up again, that I was like bawling, tears streaming down my face, having a moment, like breathing in Walt Disney's like dust laying around because she was doing the exact same thing. So it's a lot of fun to travel to Disney with her.
Yeah. Well, next time y'all go, let me know because I'm tagging along. I was like, man, I want to go. So that was it for my section, Fred.
Man, even a short sweet. All right, so we'll dive next into where you stayed at Disneyland. So when you guys went back in February, what resort did you guys stay on property, I assume? And then, because who stays off property? Like, let's be honest here.
A lot of people at Disneyland. It's like, it's crazy. And I get that the prices are high, but you cannot beat that walkability. Like 0% able to beat that
Especially with how close everything is at Disneyland. Anyway, before we take another plane ride. So where did you guys stay and what made you pick that resort?
So we actually did a split stay. So we did the first the first 2 nights at Grand Californian. And well, technically we got in super late because again, flying east to west coast, we got in by the time we got settled, it was like 11 p.m. So we did stay off property the first night because we got in 11 p.m. and it didn't make any sense to like check in on property. So we stayed at the Marriott Convention Center that night. So then the next 2 nights we stayed at Grand Californian in just a regular standard room. And then the last night, because I had stayed at Disneyland Hotel so many times in California before, we stayed at Pixar Place. So that way I had a chance to visit all 3 of the Disney resorts. And we stayed club level in a pool view room there.
So what would you say? So I'm staying at the Grand Californian when I go in May. What would you say is like the vibe of the Grand Californian?
Definitely, in my opinion, it's almost like the Wilderness Lodge versus like the Grand Floridian, right? Because a lot of people will be like, oh, it must be just like the Grand Floridian. But because you've got this majestic like forest theme going on, like California is so noted for. Chip and Dale are kind of like the mascots, if you will. So very laid back, very crunchy if you're into like labeling people as though they're going to be granola-esque on the West Coast. Muted tones throughout the whole hotel. They're going under extensive refurbishment right now. So they did actually move our room because they were working on the room right above us. Both Kim and I are very susceptible to migraines, so they were kind and moved us to the other side of the property. But like right now, for example, I will tell you one of the best perks of staying at the Grand Californian is that entranceway directly into California Adventure Park, but it's currently closed.
Yeah.
Right? You got to walk a little bit further down to the Pixar Pier entrance. And I think it's supposed to be back up before you go.
That's what we're hoping. We'll see. We check in on May 4th, so we'll see. It's supposed to like go right to the beginning of May. So it'll be. I was thinking
like the 1st or 2nd, but that might.
Yeah.
Disney likes to do things on Disney's time sometimes.
And how would you say, like, how was the club level experience at Pixar?
So I would not stay club level again at Pixar. I wouldn't pay the extra money to do it, honestly. And one of the reasons I did it was because I had heard through a bunch of like different circles with other TAs that it was kind of subpar. And so I wanted to see for myself. I didn't want to just take everybody else's word for it. It wasn't bad, but for the extra money, honestly, the Disneyland Hotel is so iconic and nostalgic. I would rather stay there than Pixar, and the walk is just a little bit further. And if you don't tell anybody, you can always exit out the Pixar exit, and nobody's going to stop you because they don't check the thing you're saying when you exit. So that's not as big of a deal. I will say the coolest thing that happened though, and you can't beat this, and I think you would only find this at the Grand Californian. Literally, almost bumped into Gwen Stefani in the lobby. Like she was there.
I remember that.
While we were there, and I was walking and I like almost shoulder bumped somebody, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I turned around and she had like her iconic space buns, and I was like, I looked at Kim and I was like, Kim looked at me and I was like, was that Gwen Stefani? She was like, I don't know, it looks like Gwen Stefani. And then we saw her again in the park, and then she posted on her socials that she was there, and I was like, this wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen at Disney World like this, but like literally nobody was like, I loved it. Nobody was running up to her. Everybody was giving her own space. So definitely love the vibe of the Grand Californian.
And so going back to the Grand Californian, right? It looks like a massive resort.
It is pretty big.
Like, is it as big as it looks?
So it's funny you ask, because I had a bunch of stuff out and I was like looking at it earlier. So that's basically what the shape of it looks like. And then, like a third of it butts up to downtown Disney. And then a third of it is on California Adventure. And then like the last, maybe a little less than a third is kind of along the Disneyland Drive road.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm excited to stay there. I'm super excited. I was originally going to stay off property because I was the only guy going. And I was like, there's no way I'm paying for a room by myself at Disneyland. And then our like head travel agent lady was like, there's another guy going. I was like, give me his number. We're splitting a room.
Yeah, I mean,
he was like, let's go with Grand Californian. And I was like, sold.
It is nice. And like,
it's crazy because
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The Chip and Dale theming just like is really cute. And I have another one of our mouse counselor friends. Her daughter collects Chippendales, and so like I was picking up little pins and little like magnets and everything for her as we were walking through.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I was just going to say how funny it is when, like, with these agency trips, because that was what I did the first time too. It was like the person that lived the closest. I'm like, okay, let me call them up and say, hey, let's go, because there's one counselor that lives about an hour. She lives in Mandeville, and so we're like, hey, you want to room together? And my family were like, you don't think that's weird? I'm like, nope, not at all.
Never met this person, but we're gonna be besties for 3 days.
Right. And then that's how I met Stephanie. And when we went in October, we all shared, there was 5 of us in the one room. I mean, we had the suite, so it was big, but yeah, no, absolutely. I'll stay with my friends.
I will say,
especially because we talk so much.
Pixar Place is super cute. So like, besides not wanting to stay club level again, and if you have somebody in your family who's a Pixar fan, they're just going to totally lose their mind. You walk in and there's the big lamp and ball and everything like in the lobby. And like probably one of my favorite hats that I'll ever own is just a white hat with a Pixar lamp and ball on the front of it. And that's it. Like, it doesn't say anything else. So it is super cute. So I would definitely put somebody there or recommend somebody stay there. I just wouldn't pay the extra money
for club
again.
Yeah, I think that my family would love it there, especially Breeden. He's a Pixar kid.
I think that's my section.
Yep. The next one is get a little bit longer. Okay, so how many days did you spend in the parks, and did you park hop?
Thank you for tuning in to Going Beyond the Castle. If you're ready to turn your vacation dreams into reality, we'd love to help you plan your next adventure. Contact us at beacons.ai/Going Beyond the Castle podcast. Let us take the stress out of planning so you can focus on the fun.
So we had 3-day park hoppers with advanced Lightning Lane multi-pass purchase. And then full disclosure, I am a disabled veteran. So I have like a VA rating, and I did the interview for the disability pass for Disneyland. So what I will tell you is, knock on wood, I've been really lucky in my experience with being able to advocate for myself and receiving the accommodations. This time was such an outlier. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. They literally said, we can see you already have it for Walt Disney World, so we're just going to go ahead and add it on. And my jaw hit the floor and I thought I was going to pass out. That has not been the experience that a lot of people have had. So, and I have an annual pass to Disney World, so I don't know if maybe because they had lengthened the amount of time for it since I went last July, because last July I had it for Disney World, but they wouldn't have seen it because it hadn't extended as much. So I will say we had the Lightning Lane multi-pass, which we always get, but we get it in addition to the DAS pass, which changes kind of like my trajectory of how I view my day a little bit. But
absolutely, we've done the DAS pass before, and it totally changes how you think about your park days.
Yeah. Sweet. So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so, and we definitely hopped every single day.
Yeah, I know that the parks are smaller, but I still feel like, I don't know, I go back and forth with, I don't think I could do base tickets anymore. At one point I'm like, I just want to go and just stay, but now it's like, no, I like being able to switch it up a little bit. So are you a rope drop family or sleep in? I can't remember I think we kind of slept in.
So at this point, so like I'm going to Epic in, what did you say? There's 59 days until it opens. I'm going in 71 days to Universal. And like, I will be a rope drop to park closed as much as I possibly can be for that. Right.
Yeah.
I've been to Disneyland enough. I've been to Disney World enough that I'm like, I like to get there for pre-park opening if we have the perk, but I'm probably going to need to come back in the middle of the day. And I may or may not make it to the nighttime activities. Because I don't worry, a lot of times you guys don't make it to the nighttime activities. But it's only because I've seen them before, right? So like, if I hadn't experienced them before, then I really push myself, but I'm just tired and broken. And sometimes, But this trip, Kim went, and she actually went off on her own for a little bit while I had something else that I was taking care of. And she rope dropped. She did early entry and rope dropped. And then the next day, We both went at early entry. Like we were actually in line 20 minutes before I think they were even opening. The first night I stayed for the World of Color 1, we had like a specialty viewing area that we were in for that, which is super fun. I will tell you that Fantasmic is my absolute favorite nighttime show at Disney World. I like it at Disneyland, but if nobody's been before, and Fred, like if you haven't heard this, you don't have this grand stadium, right? Like you're just sitting on the sidewalk. And so we always do the Blue Bayou. Every time we do the Blue Bayou dining package.
It's like on Rivers of America, isn't it?
Yes. It's on Rivers of America, and you sit on the concrete, and it's like it's flat. So if you have something tall in front of you, you got to like reconfigure your party. At one point in time, when you did the dining package, they would give you like little garden knee pad things to sit on, but they don't do that since COVID. It's phenomenal and fantastic. And there's a whole pirates element to it that you don't get at
Disney World.
But for me, it's like a 2 to 3 times and done, because my bones are hurting by the time we try to get up, 45 minutes after it starts. So we did see that. We did not, we watched the fireworks from Pixar. You can watch it. We went up to the rooftop. So the interesting thing about Pixar's club is it's on level 3. The other 2 resorts, their club level is like normal Walt Disney World club level, where it's a higher floor. So at Pixar, if you want to watch the fireworks and you have club, you actually go up to the rooftop pool area still instead.
That's cool. Yeah. What else do we have? So are there any, well, you talked a little bit about the shows. Are there any rides that you're like, okay, I'm going to hit this one first, or like ones that you're not going to miss when you go?
Yeah. So Indiana Jones is a multiple ride during the day for me. It is by far my favorite ride attraction. Other than Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot now, which I think is the best ride
hands down all
ever
day
made at any park anywhere in the universe. Now, I haven't seen this epic universe yet, but as of now, Cosmic Rewind is phenomenal. Indiana Jones has one of those things that it's always been super nostalgic for me personally, just because a lot of people don't go to Disneyland when you're from the East Coast. And so I love the Stunt Spectacular, but man, we rode it 3 times the one day. We rode it with Lightning Lane, and then Standby, and then the DAS Pass. So that, if that tells you anything, that's how often. Also, Pirates of the Caribbean. It is so
different
over
here.
At Disneyland, in my opinion. You actually have a spot where you go outside. The storyline is a little bit longer. The other 2 big differences I would say between Walt Disney World and Disneyland is Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the ride vehicle. Now it looks a little bit different. It's like a log flume. It's 1 person. Like you sit 4 back, whereas at World it's 2 people, and then 2 people and 2 people. And then the opposite is true at Space Mountain. It's 2 people, 2 people, 2 people versus the log flume at World. So it's really kind of cool to compare them. And then if like for anybody that's a pin collector, for a couple of those rides that they have on both coasts and like the railway, you can actually get a coast to coast pin. That's like a little slider pin, and it'll have like the world and the land. And so we started collecting a couple of those when we went last time.
Cool.
My kids love pins.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would also say Avengers Campus cannot be beat. We are a huge MCU family, and the fact that they own the rights on that side of the Mississippi, phenomenal. They're actually expanding. So one of the things that I got to do while I was there was get a little bit of updated information. And I know they released it at D23, but they're doubling the size of Avengers Campus, which I cannot wait to see. We got to one thing that we saw this time that I hadn't seen before. We'd always seen the shows. We'd always seen Spider-Man hanging around. They actually did like a little thing for kids where Captain America came out and then brought like a bunch of his Avenger friends, and they took some kids from the audience and like taught them how to do like their famous moves. So that was pretty neat. I had not seen that show before. So San Francisco, adorable. The updates that they did last year there for San Francisco, and just tying in a franchise that I think historically gets lost a little bit with Big Hero 6. Great, especially for the boys that are going. I feel like sometimes they feel left out. when they're at Disney.
What about the, and this isn't in notes, but I'm just curious about the Incredicoaster.
I love the Incredicoaster. So it's fun. I like roller coasters. The only roller coaster that I really absolutely hate is Hulk at Universal Orlando. I black out on that thing every time I get on it. So Incredicoaster, the story is super cute. You go through and you see Jack being Jack throughout this whole storyline. And it's thrilling. We really like it. The other thing that I would say is it was closed while we were there this trip. It's a Small World. Walt Disney World, It's a Small World, doesn't hold a candle to the one at Disneyland, which again goes outdoors, right? You have like a section outdoors, and it is based on the original World's Fair model. So hopefully, I can't remember when the refurbishment ends, Fred, but hopefully it's back up before you guys go, because
I'm hoping so.
Top notch. And then the other thing is there are a lot of rides at Disneyland that don't offer express lightning lane. So it's a little different than World. And it's a lot of the ones like the Snow White, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Like if you have the DAS pass, there is, you go to the exit to go in, but it's not on the traditional lightning lane, the storybook boats. So a lot of those smaller rides. And as much as I love Magic Kingdom, I will say there are 30 plus rides with no height restrictions at Disneyland. Like it's kind of amazing. It's such a family friendly park.
Fun. I'm ready.
What about the spinning wheel of death? Do you like the spinning wheel of death?
So when I go on the spinning wheel of death, I get in the non-spinning car.
All right, that's fine.
But it's one of my favorite photo spots. So it's phenomenal.
Wait, you're talking about the Ferris wheel thing?
The Ferris wheel.
But the one that moves.
Did
y'all?
You can get in a stationary.
Yes.
Where you can get in a elliptical loop.
Yes.
Moving car. Half of my family goes with me on the stationary. The other half goes to their doom.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't be able to ride it because I don't do heights very well. But I just recently saw a TikTok where they didn't tell the grandma about the ride, and she was like freaking out. I'm like, that would be me. Like I would kill my family if they did that to me. It would not be pretty, but I'll never ride that. There's no way. I can't.
So
if you're in the stationary and not afraid of heights, it's not bad.
I'm just now okay on the Skyliner. I've been on it a million times. Like I can ride it now without having a meltdown.
Since we're on the topic of Lori, let's stay on that topic real quick and just fly that plane around a little bit longer. Did you see the video of the new werewolf ride over at Epic Universe? It looks like it's going to be fabulous for you. Like the whole cart just turns on a roller coaster and just spins. You're going to love it.
I love Guardians. Guardians is my favorite. And I did see that, and I'm like,
different. This wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to take some boning before I get on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride everything because I'm gonna try it.
You have to.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And Josh has to get video footage of it all.
Well, he's not gonna be there.
We'll attach a We'll send you with a GoPro.
Stephanie can
I bought a gimbal. I can use my gimbal to.
There we go.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting one of those before the trip, so we'll have to talk.
Yeah.
I love mine. Absolutely love it. We'll land that plane.
Yeah, we can move on to the foodie stuff.
I'm gonna stick foodie real quick, and I'm gonna go back to also something that you mentioned earlier was what the nighttime show over at California Adventure is World of Color. The dessert party. Have you done the dessert party?
Because I've been blessed that 2 of the 3 last times I've gone, we had a private viewing area. And my kids will not eat. They're now 10 and 11, so they're just over the threshold for Disney adulthood. My wallet cries when I have to spend adult prices for them.
That's fair. There's a bunch of us doing it when we go, so I was just curious.
It'll be fun. Well, and the one thing that I forgot to say, talking about, it's kind of the difference between, but one of my favorite parts, and something that I would seek out every single time almost over a ride, the wandering characters at Disneyland, right? So it's not necessarily an attraction, but the fact that they wander, you don't have to go in a room to wait in the queue to see them. They do queue a little bit more than they used to, especially the photo you guys used, for instance. Mickey is just standing by a fountain, right? Yeah. They let 15 people into the line. That's it. You go up, you see him, and you see him dressed in, that was a California Adventure. So he's dressed as 1980s California filmmaker Mickey. I've met Geppetto. we met. The Evil Queen walks around, Peter Pan walks around, Wendy walks around. Like all of these characters that I think are just missed opportunities at World really shine at Land.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've heard a lot of good things about characters at Disneyland versus Disney World. So
I'm gonna have to hide you while you're there so I don't get jealous.
I'm just going to FaceTime you the whole time.
There you go.
All right, so cool.
Just kidding.
Let's talk food. Where did you eat? And did you snag any dining reservations or did you just wing it with mobile orders?
Yes to all of it.
Excellent.
So we ate everywhere because I'm a foodie. And so I will say, if people aren't like super knowledgeable about Disneyland, even when you stay on property, it's not day you check in plus 10. It's an every morning up at 9 a.m. East Coast time to do your dining. But that's the one plus, is that's the time East Coast time comes in handy, right?
Yeah.
So my favorite places to eat, I love Blue Bayou. So Blue Bayou is the one that's inside of Pirates of the Caribbean. Upscale dining, a little bit more expensive, but the food quality, in my opinion, is on point. It's something that I would spend probably the same amount of money on at a non-Disney restaurant. Maybe like $5 to $10 more. Love Blue Bayou. Lamplight Lounge at California Adventure and over at Pixar Pier. Really cute, good food, kind of more like laid back. We like to eat there for lunch. So we had lunch there. Trader Sam's, one of the hardest to score dining reservations on the planet, I'm convinced. I think I've gotten Victoria and Albert's more often than I've gotten Trader Sam's when looking for reservations. We scored another reservation there. That allows you to go inside and eat. You can always, the other cool thing about Land versus World is they have a lot of walk-up waiting lists that you can join. But when you do that, or when you do walk-up at Trader Sam's, you're automatically seated outside. So anything inside will always have to be a confirmed reservation. So we did that. We were originally going to do Napa Rose at the Grand Californian, but then we were just tired. And another amazing thing about Disneyland hotels, they have room service. So we ordered room service because we were both just like, we're done. So we're ordering room service. So that was pretty fun. I'm trying to think of because it was food and wine the last day. So I had a sip and savor pass and I was going to show it to you guys. And then I realized, so the sip and savor pass, you either pay for 4 or 8 snack credits, if you will, at any of the booths. And so I had one that had 8 credits on it and I had only used 6. And I met a little boy in the elevator at the Pixar Place Hotel who was there for his birthday trip. So I actually gave my pass to him and said, happy birthday. Here, use the last 2 on here. But I would have shown you guys, but it looks very similar to like on a lanyard type thing. You wear it around your neck. It's nice. They used to have pull tabs on it, but if you pulled the tab, it was considered like expired, like you voided it. So they got smart this year, and going forward, they scan your code on your pass and then you enter the 4-digit PIN that comes with your pass. Highly recommend that for anybody that's going for food and wine. So we did that a lot. We ate Wine Country Trattoria this time as well. Good food. A lot of people knock it. I don't think it's bad. I will say snacks are my favorite at Disneyland over Disney World. Churros actually taste like churros. They don't taste like with cinnamon sugar on them. And Mickey pretzels. You can actually, it's at the churro stand over by It's a Small World close to the Matterhorn. They sell guava cream cheese dip. And they technically sell the churros, but it is chef's kiss on a Mickey pretzel. It is so good. So we always try those. Obviously, we got Dole Whip while we were there because you just can't. And actually there, the Dole Whip area that's right behind the Enchanted Tiki Room, they sell bao buns as well. And that's one of my favorite places because we'll go get bao buns and Dole Whip. We did eat at one of the newest restaurants. It's at downtown Disney called Din Tai Fung. It is
like a disease.
Really, really good. They have
That's got to be a clip.
It's the Xiaolong Bao. Have you guys seen like the soup dumplings?
Yeah.
They're like all the rage these days. So they're called Xiaolong Bao. And so we got that. They also had sushi, really just amazing food. And Kim was impressed. She said she was a little nervous when we went in, but she left saying that she was so glad. And that was one of the times we actually had a second Trader Sam's scheduled for lunch. And we were like, we're just not feeling it. We need a little bit of a nap. we're going to cancel it. Canceled it outside of our 2-hour window. And then we woke up, we were like famished. We're like, let's walk around Disney Springs. And that's where we ended up. And it was pretty great. They also have like a chocolate bao bun, like with liquid, but not molten chocolate on the inside for dessert. I would put it up against almost any dessert across Disneyland property, except maybe Salt and Straw. So I know there's one at Disney Springs. I think a lot of people are scared to go in there. I adore it. I adore their crazy ice cream creations. Pear and blue cheese and balsamic strawberry black pepper were the 2 flavors that I got this time, which are some of my favorites.
I've heard Disneyland has better quick service than they do table service.
I think so.
Agree with that statement? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Tiana's Palace opened up last year too. So I will say,
yeah.
We didn't go this trip, but we did go last July. It was pretty on point, obviously. But that's a great option. You honestly can't go wrong anywhere. I don't think the food is just great. And at California Adventure, so much of the food is like infused in that SoCal vibe. Like even in San Francisco, you've got like Asian fusion with like California food. So
I'm excited for the food that I'm going to eat over those 2 days.
On Pim's Test Kitchen at Avengers Campus too.
Oh, I've heard great things about that.
Pim's is pretty great too, and you can mobile order there. There's a shawarma cart. Shawarma cart is pretty phenomenal if you like shawarma. They have good breakfast.
I think she answered.
I dropped out for a second. Sorry.
The menu at Oga's is a little bit more, just slightly more robust than at World. Like you can get a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Instead of just like nuts and alcohol.
I always think about getting a dining reservation there, and then I just look at the menu and I'm like, why?
Yeah. Just for the ambiance.
Yeah. I'd rather be riding rides.
We went that one time. Was that last? I forget the years that we went, but that was the only time that I went in when we went on the Mouse Counselor trip, and we were all separated though.
Jello shot
petri
dish.
Fun stuff.
All right, back to you, Lori.
All right. Yeah. And some of these questions, we'll just kind of generalize this topic. What about like shopping and any like extra stuff? Like how are the shops and things over at Disneyland?
Love downtown Disney. And so we're talking earlier, and I don't know the exact, like I'm a Disney fan, but I am not as much of a fanatic as some people. I would guess that it's a football field in between the entrance of Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure. And then like a football field and a half until you're at the entrance to Disney's downtown Disney. So it really is so different. Like you don't have to take a bus from the park to get to the shopping and entertainment district. They just opened a brand new sweets store there. That was pretty fun to walk around. A new Avengers store. And then a new kind of like, it's called Designed store on the back end. The World of Disney that's there is great. Of course, we shopped there. They have a Disney home store that we really liked. Highly recommend mobile checkout no matter where you go at shopping at Disney.
Facts.
Honestly, mobile checkout is just phenomenal. I tried really hard to like save money this time and not overspend, because at World I have my AP discount, so I get 20% off. Disney Visa discount's only 10% off, so I was like missing that 10%. Will say that my favorite thing that I've ever done at any Disney park was that tour of the Main Street, Walt's Main Street tour. And it wasn't this trip, but you have a VIP essentially guide take you up and down Main Street, go over like the history, the little quirky things. If you guys don't know about the light bulb on Main Street, then you learn about the light bulb on Main Street. And even if you do know about it, they point it out. If you don't know about the penny arcade and the significance of that, it's actually something I put in my scavenger hunt for clients. Just all these little tips and tricks, talk about all the names on the dentist. I never realized before, but the dentist has somebody like fake screaming out of the window of the dentist place that's on the second story on Main Street. And then you end up back in the apartment. You get to no photos, no video. They'll have a photo pass photographer come in and take some photos of you, but you get to hear a little bit more about the history, and you get to actually see where the Disney family hung out.
That's cool.
Sweet.
That's
I know one of the things, Lori's like anything I'm expected on this trip, like extra. So we saw a hummingbird, and my friend Kim and I were like just really immersed in this hummingbird. And there's a family next to us, like probably preteen girl and her mom. And we're all like staring at this hummingbird, and all of a sudden we hear, "Oh my, is that a hummingbird?" And we turn around and Anna's like just standing right there. Like, look at
wow.
that. Just like, it's so surreal because that doesn't happen at World, right?
No.
And she's just like chatting for a couple minutes, and then she's like, "Bye, friends. I have to go now to go see some other people." And it's just super cool, and gotta love it.
That is awesome. I know, it's like when you get in those moments, it's because I've talked about like the first time Breeden met Buzz Lightyear or Liv met Cinderella, and you're like, you know, oh my gosh, these people. I'm like, okay, snap out of it. It's a person. Yeah, that's Earth.
My daughter just got accepted to Disney College program. So like it's gonna be people she's rooming with, right?
Yes.
That's really cool.
I know. I cannot wait to find out what she gets to do. That's like my dream. I'm like, am I too old to do the Disney College program?
No, there's not an age limit. I've thought about it. Thought long and hard about going AWOL from the Army. Because technically I graduated college like 2 years ago. So I could have done it after I got my master's.
Man.
But
that was the same with me, Fred. I graduated with my master's in May of 23, and I was like, I could go make $17 an hour at Disney.
Totally worth it.
Family to support, and I would probably my children taken away.
Yeah, I'll send it back. I'll send it back to Rachel's dad.
I got my master's when Olivia was 10 months old, and she's 17. So I think it's been.
You did it the right.
I say that the girls were that old.
Oh no, I was 34 or 35, so I was older. Yeah, I had Olivia when I was older. So
I graduated in like May of 22, so the girls were like 8 months old. So I was typing my dissertation and all that stuff while rocking a child. It's fun times. Don't miss it.
Oh yeah, same. I was like, what was I thinking? I told Josh, I was like, if I ever try to go back to school, tell me no. Like, this is stupid.
Absolutely.
Stupid. Anyway. Yeah, and I know we kind of
land that plane.
This is yours. Yeah, we landed. The next section is yours, but we already kind of talked about Disneyland versus Disney World. So I'll let you decide where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, you've said a lot of things that, like, you know, Disneyland is the original park all day. Like that is the OG park, you know, and it's totally different from Disney World. Like you have some, you know, some of the same concepts, but even like the rides are different. Pirates is different, you know, Small World's different. Like the character meet and greets are different. The food's different. Like, would you say, like, because I have a friend who is diehard, born and raised in California, and I'm sending her to Disney World in a week and a half. And this was a hard process to get her to go to Disney World while she lives over here, because she was like, Disneyland for life. And I was like, shut up. No. So like, would you say that one is better than the other, or would you just say they're two different parks and is equally as fabulous?
So I get asked this all the time, and my family does not agree with me. So they're team view all the way, which breaks my heart. But I will take Disneyland over Magic Kingdom any day. Cat has my heart and soul.
Same.
Animal Kingdom, like I'm a pretty big Animal Kingdom nut too. I know a lot of people write it off, but love animals. Not making a safari trip anytime soon, so it's about as close as I'm gonna get. And Hollywood Studios, I could just fit back in Disneyland. So Disneyland over Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. But Epcot, the fact that Epcot and Animal Kingdom are in Florida, like edges it out just a little bit.
So they each have their own like pulls towards, you know, there's definitely parts of Disneyland over Disney World. Yeah, that's fair.
And I think like one of the big things that I really think that they're working on at Land, like, so they're going to be expanding, you know, Avengers Campus, but they've built this product that is now like the cornerstone of a vacation, but it's not just a Disney centric vacation like it is at World. It's the cornerstone of a Southern California experience, right? Yeah. So a lot of people that go to Disneyland, you know, I really do think 2 to 3 day park hoppers are the minimum that you can do there, even though the parks are so much smaller, right? That gives you the ability to not be stressed, to not really have to rush, to not worry about like rope drop to park close, because the parks close there at like 11 p.m. still, or 1 a.m., right? They didn't do what Disney World did post-COVID and start like this 9 o'clock craziness, right? They're still closing super late. So if you're trying to do open to close, I don't know when you're sleeping, but a lot of people will do that. They'll go to Universal in Hollywood. They'll go to the beach. We almost every single time we go, except this last trip, we go to Huntington Beach while we're there. Absolutely love it. In July of last year, we went to Palm Springs for 3 days. We actually stayed at a Marriott that's across the street from the Centino, I think that's the name of it, the Disney like housing community that they're building.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed right across from that. So we kind of got to see them building that a little bit. But it really is like this cornerstone now. And then you have like, they're doing a ton of cultural celebrations there that they don't do anywhere else at any of their theme parks. They've got the Lunar New Year in February. They have the Gospel Black History Month stuff going on. They have Hispanic festivals. They do the Sweethearts after night after, you know, the event. I know somebody that did that a couple years ago, and you actually like danced with all the couples. Like you got to see like all
That's
of like
cool.
the prince and princess couples, which is pretty cool. You know, they're doing that. Are you going to be there for the big Star Wars?
We will be there. We're not paying for that.
Yeah.
The extra Star Wars. There's a couple agents that are going to pay for this extra hours, but we're not.
Yeah. So I think the cool thing about that is it kind of makes every visit feel like a new visit, even in 1 year. Like I know there's the Halloween party and there's the Christmas party at World, but there's just, I feel like land pulls in so much more. And it's a lot easier to navigate with strollers. You don't have to take your stroller down to get on a mode of transportation unless it's the Skyliner or the big ferry boat. And it's just, it's different, but I think it's equally as amazing.
Sweet. My turn. All right. So what is your top piece of advice for someone planning a Disney trip?
Other than use a travel agent?
Right.
I mean,
hello.
Like not to sound salesy, but like just especially if you're not from Southern California, because like Fred said, people in Southern California, they know Disneyland pretty well. People above LA, I have a lot of clients from Central and Northern California because I don't think anybody realizes how big California is until you're actually out there. But it takes 20 hours to drive from Seattle down to like the greater LA area, pretty much. So honestly, working with a travel agent, like one of the things that like Disney gives as collateral for TAs are like sample itineraries for family with kids, whether you're starting at Land or California Adventure. And they do it for kids 0 to 4 and 5 to 10. I have found so much value in that because my kids are now like getting older. So it's been a long time since I've had kids that were there when they were 0 to 4 years old.
Little ones.
I think the other thing is just like World, manage your expectations. Know that you have a plan going in, but being semper gumby, always flexible, and like realizing that you're going to need to pivot at some point. The weather's not as big of a deal. You don't have those 3 p.m. showers like you kind of do almost every single day in Central Florida. And just, I know that it's more expensive, but staying on property, that would be my number one biggest tip is the extra value that you get in that. There's a reason that it's priced the way it is and rooms still sell out.
Sweet. I think that's it.
That was enlightening. I'm counting down my time to Disneyland, 42 days. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited because I'm a diehard Disney World guy, like all day through and through. I've only been to Disney World. So like Disney World is really all I know. So I'm really excited to get a different aspect of Disney, seriously like dive into, the MCU side of the house and get to experience, Marvel's campus and, get to experience the food and just the vibes. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for Disneyland. I wish I could take Lori with me, but
same
sucks to suck. So
thanks, Fred.
Anyway, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you on and definitely appreciate your input on Disneyland and educating our listeners on Disneyland. I think this is a first-time topic for us. We've talked, Disney World. We've talked Universal. We've talked Epic. We've talked Virgin Voyages. We have not got to dive into Disneyland yet. So this is super exciting for us to be able to dive into that topic. I think for those that are watching, for those that tune in, if you have been to Disneyland or Disney World, definitely drop us a comment. What is your preference, whether it's Disney World, Disneyland, and tell us why, that's your park. So that being said, as we wrap up, what are we talking about next week? Because Lori's changing things around on me.
Yeah, I mixed up the weeks, but next week we're going to do Spring into Disney. So I think we'll focus on like Flower and Garden Festival, springtime stuff.
So excited.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun topic.
It's fun. Yeah, I love seeing all the new topiaries when they do those.
The Moana topiary this year is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see it in person.
Yeah, I'll get to. Well, yeah, because it'll be up. It's still. Yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, it'll still be there
when we go in May. So I'll get to see it in person in May.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And you're going in May too. So
Yep.
he's going to Disneyland and Disney World in May. So.
I am. My wife is not happy. Mainly because
No.
she's not going to either of them, but I can't help it. Sorry. Nothing I can do.
That's all
Okay.
right. I'm gonna come steal you girls.
That's fine. Okay. Anything before we wrap up?
Nope, I don't think so. I know you already said thank you, but thanks for joining us, Stephanie. It was good chatting with you on video again. So it's been a while since we've seen each other. So it'll be fun.
Well, thank you both.
Fun chatting. Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime.
We love having guests. Yeah, we
Yes.
love having visitors.
All right. Well, that being said, as we wrap up, if you are looking for more information about going beyond the castle, if you're looking to learn more about Lori and I, looking to listen to some of our episodes, we have a blog now, as I mentioned last week. So if you're looking to read our weekly blog, don't have time to watch or listen to the episode, we do post a weekly blog that drops on Fridays. So you can always check that out at our website. All things Going Beyond the Castle you can find at www.goingbeyondthecastle.com. If you're looking for any of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, if you're looking for ways to listen to the podcast, whether it be on Apple Podcasts, Pandora Podcast, iHeart, all that fun stuff, you can find all that information at our Beacons channel at beacons.ai/going beyond the castle. And then, of course, if you'd like to reach out to us directly, send us an email, whether it be for a vacation quote, whether it be to, come and join us on the podcast, or even to recommend a topic for the podcast, you can send us an email, info@goingbeyondthecastle.com. And with that being said, that wraps up this week's episode. Again, thanks to everybody for joining, listening, and going beyond the castle with us each week. We will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us on this magical journey. We hope today's episode brought a little extra spark to your day and inspired your next adventure. Whether it's a thrilling escape to Universal, a dream cruise getaway, or unforgettable memories at Disney. Have questions? A topic you'd like us to cover? Your own magical story to share, or looking for travel assistance? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line at info@goingbeyondthecastle.com. Be sure to check out all our social media links and podcast platforms at beacons.ai/Going Beyond the Castle podcast. And don't miss the fun in our Facebook group, Going Beyond the Castle Podcast Lounge, where we share tips, updates, and behind-the-scenes moments. Until next time, see you real soon.